What's going on, Inspire family? Today is going to be a different video. Today's going to be a video on motorcycles for beginners. How to ride them, what bike should I get, what should I do, what gear, etc, etc. I'm just going to kind of give you the rundown, the basics. So, let's get to it. Alright guys, so the first one I'm gonna go from the lowest class to the highest class in a few different classes. So the first one's gonna be the minis, the 125s, the Grom or Z125. I know Honda has the monkey bike out now too. So these are obviously really popular now since they came out, what, 2014, 2015 I believe, the Grom, and then Kawasaki a few years later followed up with the Z125 when they saw that Honda had a real good market for the Grom. They're like, ooh, let's get in that. So personally, I'm a Kawasaki fanboy. That's why I have the Z. The Grom is my dad's. So these are fun bikes. I'm not gonna lie. These are great learner bikes if you're getting into motorcycles to learn on, because if you drop it, it doesn't really matter. They're cheap to replace stuff, and they minor damage because these bikes don't go fast at all, especially when learning. Like these top out at stock was 60, 65. That's about it. So really just pick which one you like. Now this is the older model Grom. They have the new models out now. My biggest thing about getting, let's say, like a 125 or a 250 or 300 even, because the 300 was my bike that I started out on for street riding. I've been on dirt bikes a long time, but that's a whole different game. You're gonna get bored of it real quick. A lot of people do, and they end up being so bored of it that they either think it's not fun, they don't ride no more, or they get on something way too big. I believe I personally would not start out on a 600 or 1000. Jacob.
Yeah.
Dog. Puppies. For your first bike, would you start out on a 600 like a ZX6 or a ZX10 or R6 or R1? Your very first bike, first time on the road. No, you don't think it's a smart idea?
I don't think it's a smart idea.
Yeah, I don't either. But everyone else's opinion is different. Everyone else's comfort level and what they want to do with their own money is different. I'm not saying what to do and how to spend your money. I'm just giving you my advice. That's why I'm making this video. So, if you don't want the 125s because they don't do over 60 miles per hour, I would not recommend taking these on highways or freeways because they are small, people won't see you, and they're slow. But they are also a lot of fun. So my next recommendation to you would be the sport touring class, and that's going to be FZ6 or this Ninja 650R. Are you a good doggo? Are you a good doggo? Huh? Oh, you're a good doggo. Alright guys, so the next bike that I'm going to show you, if you don't want to start on a 125 because you can't go on the highway, you don't want a 300, 400 because you want a bike that will probably, let's say, you would enjoy for a long time. Like, yeah, you might get the 300, 400 go on the highway, but eventually you're going to get used to that power, right? So you're like, well, what if I want something that I could ride, learn on, but not get bored of so quickly, and I could have for a while that could go easily in the mountains, trails, or not trails, but mountains, twisties, highways, freeways, etc. And I'm going to point out a Ninja 650, which is the sport touring class, which is this bike right here. So what this bike is going to offer you actually is, yes, it's in the 600 class. This is a 2018 model. So don't let that like freak you out that's in the 600 class, because the thing about this bike is that when you're seated on it, you're seated in an upright position. Let me show you. So as you can see, if I was to ride this bike, notice how my body position is upright and you're not hunched over the bars like this. So what this is going to do is, one, this is going to be a lot more comfy, especially for longer rides. Two, you're going to have a lot more feel of it, like in control of the bike, a lot more control of the bike, especially for beginners. Now, I know that with most bikes, they offer ABS models that you can pick up. I only had one ABS bike, that was my 300. I think it's the only ABS bike I've ever owned. But the 650s, I actually recommend to start on. This would be my recommendation to start on. The reason why is because, does it have power? Obviously, it's a 650, but is it controllable for a beginner? Yes, as long as they have someone teaching them or they take it slow. That's the biggest thing. I feel like that's gonna be the biggest thing for a lot of people. I know people that start on 600s, like an R6, a 636, or a 1000, like a ZX10R, R1, Gixxer, whatever your choice of bike is. And I think the biggest and most safest thing is start slow, because you don't want to kill yourself or hurt yourself. But my recommendation will be a sport touring bike, Ninja 650, FZ6, plenty of other kinds of bikes. It's just not between Kawasaki or Yamaha. So that's the biggest thing. Like, the next biggest thing that I would recommend to you is go to your local motorcycle dealership and go sit on bikes and feel what's comfy. For instance, my girlfriend, she looked up, she was like, oh my god, I love the R3, I love the look, I want this. I'm like, well, hold on, let's go to a shop, let's have you sit on some bikes, and then we'll go from there. She's like, okay. So a few days later, we go to a shop. She sits on the R3. She doesn't like it. Now, it's not everyone. I know people that love them. She sat on a Ninja 300, didn't like it. She sat on a Ninja 400, she loved it. So that's the bike that she's going to get, because that's the one that feels comfy. She could flat foot on both sides. She, it's upright seating position, and that's the one she wants. Now I'm going to teach her on the Z125. I told her that's going to be her learning bike right there. So that's the bike that she's going to learn on. But anyways, aside from the 650, the next bike I'm going to show you is a little bit something different than the street bike style version here, and that's going to be an enduro, which is going to be this bike right here. This right here is a 2003 Suzuki DRZ 400. Now, the thing about this bike, it sits up tall. You can feel real tall, and obviously it's just a whole different type of bike. Yes, it's street legal. Yes, you could take it off-road. Yes, it probably needs new tires, to be honest with you. And yes, the front light is hella bright on this bike. But you have these enduro bikes, or another type is the only street tires, like the Supermotos, that people ride too. And it's just about personal preference. If you like that type of bike, get that type of bike. Like I said, go to your shop, sit on some bikes, feel what's comfy for you, see what you like, do your research. So this bike, honestly, I'm gonna call is like our goon bike, to be honest. We fuck around on this bike a lot. We put this bike through some times, but it's held up great, and it's fun. It's a fun bike. Would I recommend someone starting on it? I don't know. I mean, if you want to, but it's torquey. It's more torquey than other bikes, that's for sure. But it's a very fun bike. Would I recommend it for short people? No. I'm 5'8", and I have to tippy-toe this bike when I ride it. It's up tall. Not all bikes, enduro bikes or supermotos, are like that. So the next bike that's on the list is the Super Sports class, the 600, which will be this one right here. This is my dad's 2018 R6. Got it a year ago, almost to the day. So a lot of people start on 600s, especially like Gixxer 600s. I see, seems like, and now I'm kind of biased because I'm coming off of 1000, but these bikes are fast. To me, it doesn't feel as fast when I was riding today, but I still enjoy them. They are super fun. They're super light, and it's amazing. Would I recommend a 600 to start on? No, but again, that's just me. That's my personal opinion. I'm not telling you what to buy and don't buy. I'm not telling you how to spend your money. You do what you want to do. I'm just trying to throw this out there and hopefully help someone that wants to get into motorcycle riding, street bikes, enduros, the Z's or the Groms or whatever you want to do. I'm just trying to hopefully put this video out there as an educational purpose video. So, like I said, this is the 600. These bikes are very fast. It's like 16.5 RPMs. It red lines out at. I think top speed on these are around like 160. And then the next bike after in the super sport class is 600 is obviously a 1000. This is my 2017 ZX10R, which all you know, her name's Zilla, so I named her. I know people that started off on 1000s too. I know people that started off on 1000s got really hurt, ended up in the hospital. I know people that started off on 1000s have yet to crash this day, which there's two types of riders. The ones that have gone down, the ones that will gone down. I do believe that. I have taken my fair share of falls. I honestly, no one ever wants to go down. I pray that no one ever goes down. That's the shittiest thing in the world. So that's gonna bring me on to my next topic after I get done talking about this bike, which is gear. So pricing, let's get in that. The Grom, the Z125, that will run you $3,000 to like $4,000. It depends on what you get. Except like the special editions and blah blah blah. That's after taxes in my state. Every state's gonna be different. The DRZ we bought from a private seller. I believe that was somewhere between $2,500 and $3,500. I'm not sure. That was a very long time ago when we got that bike. We got the 650 for around 8. We got the R6 for around 11, 12. And I got my bike for 15. Like I said, these are all non-ABS versions of these bikes. The only ABS version of the bike that I had was my 300, which that was at the time when I bought it new, 2014, was like $7,000 back then. With only 5 miles on it. ABS versions are gonna run you up in cost a little bit than non-ABS. Everything like KRT editions with the Kawasaki's, which is Kawasaki Racing Team, which is a graphics kit. It's gonna run you like an extra $300 if you want that on there, which I had that on this bike. And obviously you can see I ripped that stuff off and I wrapped it and made it my own custom design because not much is stock in this bike anymore, as you can tell. Now you have multiple other types of bikes. You have touring bikes out there. You got Harleys, you got cruisers, softails, hardtails. I never got into those bikes. I only been into the bikes that I've shown you, so I can't give you information about those bikes if I don't know those bikes, and I'm not going to. So I do have friends that ride them. I have friends that love them. I have friends that try to ride them, friends that hate them. It's all your personal opinion on what bikes you want and what you want to do. So now that I kind of gone over the general senses of what like the classes out there, a short little rundown. Obviously I think the best bike to start on would be a Sport Touring 600 bike. So without that, let's actually get on a bike. Let's actually ride a bike, and let's show you what's actually going on when riding a bike.